It was mostly from here that the stories of cannibalism came. And while we
Oh, no. Oh, hell no. I almost said the N-word. Dude, I was not ready for that. All right, 30 Years War.
It opened the third seal. I heard the third
30 Years War Part 3. I haven't forgotten the series. Mega Twingo. Okay?
beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine."
What I find quite interesting, right, is the way how he was speaking just now. I couldn't even clock what he was saying just now. Is how and I know a lot of British people don't like to admit this, but over time, right? Because English people are literally Germans. They came from Germania, whatever. But I find it interesting how English evolved from just a German dialect, and if you actually look at English text and the way how English people speak, the more further back you go, the more closer it goes to the way how Germans speak, right? Old English, right? Was literally just basically German, right? There's a reason why Germans can learn English quite easily, But yeah, a lot of English people won't admit that. A lot of English people, they'll go ballistic if you look at them and you tell them that that English people are freaking Germans. But I point this out because the way how he was speaking it, and you correct me if I'm wrong if you're German, the way how he was speaking just now, it kind of started like a German feel to it. I know it was English, but it still kind of had a German feel to it. Anyways, we're 25 seconds in. That's just something that I've just clocked. Okay. This is a reaction for a reason. Okay, I give my reaction. Yes. Okay, I don't just sit here and watch the video. Freaking hell, that would be content stealing, and I don't do that. I actually give thoughtful reactions. Okay, if you've watched me long enough, you know that I do. Okay.
Southern Germany, 1624. Hunger. It greeted the man at dawn and lay down with him at dusk. Sometimes its gnawing woke him up at night. Even before the war, cold weather had made bad harvests. Then the emperor came, took land, and debased the coin to pay his mercenaries. The bread price quadrupled, and that was all before soldiers sacked his house and carried off the family cow. Now there was only hunger and the dead, and a terrible solution.
Okay, so what was the first 2 parts? I think one of them was the 7 horsemen. Frick, I think one of them was I think this episode is Famine. What was the other 2? Oh, bloody heck, I forgot.
Thanks so much to Ting Mobile for helping this historic tale come through loud and clear. Periodic famine was a regular occurrence in 17th century Europe.
Okay, so I was right. So what was the other 2? Oh my gosh. I try to remember all my reactions because I don't want to just sit here and just watch something and forget about it. No. Hell no. I take pride in the stuff that I watch, especially when it's something suggested by me, okay? So I try to remember the knowledge from it, out of respect, for my viewers and subscribers, especially when it's suggested to me. Oh my gosh, I feel so awful that I forgot what the other 2, seven deadly horsemen, seals? I think the first one was war. The second one, what? Oh my gosh. Okay, this is pissing me off, whatever.
Natural events like extreme weather, insect infestation, or botanical disease could cost a harvest. But while going hungry wasn't unheard of, like many things about the 30 Years' War, it was the scale of the famine that ensures it's still remembered to this day. And as we continue our investigation of the 30 Years' War as a humanitarian disaster, we have to examine the role hunger played. Even without the war.
What's the 30 Years' War? Because I've heard of the 30 Years' War. What's the 30 Years' War? The war that, or should I say the thing that basically made Europe start to sort of get, like, repulsed by religion, right? Because I heard that so many people died from the 30 Years' War that everyone was like, hey guys, maybe killing so many people over religion isn't really a great idea. I heard that was basically what sowed the seeds, because, you know, Europe is becoming more and more atheist today, right? If you check the statistics. Yeah, I think I heard somewhere that it was the 30 Years' War that kind of started that whole process of Europe shifting from being super religious to being more atheist, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was just a thought that came in my head.
Disaster. We have to examine the role hunger played. Even without the war, the 17th century was a lean one for Central Europe, sitting at the center of the Little Ice Age, a time where, for uncertain reasons, temperatures dropped several degrees in the northern hemisphere. Now, theories about why include the Earth's orbit and tilt, increased volcanic eruptions, or changes in oceanic circulation. But no matter what the cause, the end result was that European farms likely saw decreased crop productivity and shortened growing seasons, so there was just less food to go around, period. And then came the Kipper and Wipper years, one of the most unbelievable economic crises in the history of Europe. Now, I know that's an odd term, but there's really no current-day English equivalent. What exactly Kipper and Wipper stands for varies on the telling, but one leading theory states that Kipper refers to clipping coins, more on that in a minute, and Wipper means a sort of seesaw, a reference to the scales of the money changers. The Holy Roman Empire, you see, didn't have a single currency. Southern Germany had silver and gold coins they favored, and Northern Germany used two different coins, which we're not going to differentiate here to make things simpler. Both, however, theoretically, did have pennies. But in reality, they cost so much to produce that the state gave up, and people mostly imported foreign coins instead, which was normal since Germany was a trade crossroads. And this was a period where certain trading towns might have dozens of foreign currencies in circulation due to traders passing through. Now, no one knows where they came from. Suspects include Switzerland and Italy. But in the late 1500s, some debased foreign coins had made their way into the Holy Roman Empire. Now, taking a step back for a moment, what does it mean for a coin to be debased, you might ask? Well, simply put, it means that the gold and silver coin contained less of the precious metal than they were supposed to. And because people...
Wait. So... Whoa. So the metals actually mattered back then? Like seriously, really? I just thought that they were just like, hey, let's just mint this, boom. I knew that, like, metals on coins, you know, are like valuable because, you know, they're like metals, right? But once minted, don't they lose their value? Unless it's gold. I know unless it's gold, that's different. Because you can always like melt gold. But okay, hold on. Let me continue. Let me listen, because I wasn't really saying much because I was like taking in everything.
Means that the gold and silver coin contained less of the precious metal than they were supposed to. And because people in the empire kept trading their non-debased gold and silver coins for debased ones, the states as a whole were losing money. So then rulers began debasing their own coins to try to even everything out, but the end result being that by 1609, the value of the empire's silver coins fell by 20%. Of course, there are a few different...
Okay. I get it now. I'm not gonna say it, but I get it. The only question that I have is, would it really matter? Because today we use... I just bit my tongue. Oh my god. I just bit my tongue. I bit my tongue with my back teeth. Oh, what the heck? I usually bite it with my front teeth. Okay. But the only question that I have is, today we use paper money. We use coins. Yes, that is true. But we use paper money. Why would it matter if it's like silver or not? Because we use paper money. Money today is worthless, bruh. Right? Money, like paper money, is really worthless. But people, right? We still give value to paper money that we use today. So even if like they're losing value, it's still currency, right? So what does it really matter, if it's not the actual precious metal? Like, what would they do with the coins if it is precious metal? Like, would they melt it? That's the only possible thing that I can think of, right? But like, what is the difference? Like, was there a use for precious metals? Basically, is that why those coins were valued more than the ones that weren't minted with precious metal? Basically, right? If someone can answer that question, that'd be great. If not, then oh well, it is what it is.
Thing out, but the end result being that by 1609, the value of the empire's silver coins fell by 20%. Of course, there are a few different ways to debase coinage. One involves mixing other metals into them, bringing down the silver and gold content of each coin so you can make more coins with less precious metal. But another one is clipping coins, shaving or cutting edges off of them, and then melting down those scraps to make brand new coins. And in an economic system that relies on a coin literally being worth its weight in silver and gold, both those tactics are dangerous. They literally make money worth less than advertised. Now, even back then, it was known that bad currency drives out good, making people hoard non-debased coinage, or for governments to debase their own coin in competition. But in the short term, debasing could have its benefits. You have 8,000 coins, then you debase them, and now you have 10,000 coins. You just upped your assets 20%, which is useful if you need to hire or pay, I don't know, let's take a shot in the dark here, a bunch of soldiers. You see.
A very interesting system. So basically what I got from this so far is that the coins, and I think this actually answered my question, is that the coins actually did represent like the precious metal, right? So if you have a gold coin, you quite literally do own like gold, and if you own a silver coin, you quite literally own silver, which makes sense. In common sense, they're valuable. So okay, I think I'm starting to get this more.
Here, a bunch of soldiers. You see where this is going. Even before the war began, a lot of city mints, with minimal imperial oversight, were already debasing their coins. Ferdinand pursued that policy for Bohemia even before the revolt, and afterward, the Catholic nobles he brought in to replace the exiled Protestant ones kicked it into high gear. But debasing became especially attractive once the war began, and states came under strain funding their defense. But it was also both a way to enrich those doing it and practice economic sabotage. Nobles, town leaders, and even priests would start their own unofficial mints, clipping good coins or producing bad ones. Then those with the highest gold and silver content they would keep. And the rest? Well, they'd get a traveling con man to bring them to the next state over, preferably one that supported the opposite cause, and convince common people to exchange their good coins for the debased ones. It essentially became a race to the bottom, with each state trying to dump bad coin on their neighbors, take the neighbors' non-debased coins back, and debase them to make more money. And the result was a total collapse of the currency. Some coins fell to an eighth of their value.
Oh my gosh, that is so awful. That is so awful.
Hyperinflation went out of control. Bread prices were particularly dire. In one diary from the period, a soldier claims that 45 silver pieces could only buy 2 pounds of bread. And a seminary student in a university town remembered a loaf costing a full gold piece. And some of
that is wild. That is a loaf costing a whole gold piece. That is insane.
the biggest perpetrators of this were major figures in the war. Ferdinand, as we mentioned, championed debasing Bohemian coin to pay his soldiers, but when he moved his Catholic lords into Bohemia, nearly all of them set up mints to make a quick buck. the most successful of which was Albrecht von Wallenstein, who invested money he'd inherited from his wife into mints in Bohemia, using the profits to set up a mini fiefdom in the country and raise a private army. Then using this very literal war chest, he became one of the most influential imperial generals of the conflict. Though Imperial Edict finally fixed the exchange rate in 1623, there was no undoing the damage. Urbanized classes like merchants and tradesmen were ruined, with food prices rising eightfold. And because they lived in cities, they had no farms to grow their own food. Areas.
So let's talk about that for a second, right? You see, and this is one thing that terrifies me about living in a city. Bro, when a natural disaster happens, any apocalyptic scenario happens, you're screwed if you're living in a city. You're done. You're done. Guys, cities, and a lot of people do not understand this, but cities rely on farms still. They all rely on farms. Guys, those people who spend their whole lives on farms, God bless them. They're so underappreciated. Like, I've heard some people before a while ago talking about, you know, what it's like, how it makes them money, and how like sometimes prices could fluctuate based on their growing season, you know, growing fruits, vegetables, etc., etc. Oh my gosh, those farms go away, all hell breaks loose in the city. And based on what I'm seeing here so far, that's about to happen. That's about to happen. I think about this every single day. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if we go to war? Because I live in America right now, and you know, there's kind of like sort of fears. I gotta make a video about this in the future when I get my professional equipment. Because I did say that I was gonna get my professional equipment eventually. Probably like end of July or something, but we'll get there when we get there. But there's fears that we're gonna get to World War III with China. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Oh, it's going to happen. I always think to myself, oh my gosh, what if we go to war and the farms that supply the cities get destroyed? What the hell are we going to do? Chaos, anarchy. Cities are fragile. A lot of people don't realize that cities are very fragile, bro. It's like an artery of a body, right? You know how you have your main artery, right? You cut your main artery, 5 minutes, you're dead. That's literally like that. Get rid of the farms, a couple of days, maybe in a short period of time, the cities will just go ballistic, right? Can't function. And guys, the more you think about that, the more terrifying. This scares me. That is very much a possibility, right? Anyways, I'm yapping a bit too much, but like I said, this is a reaction video for a reason. I mean, if I don't put my input on it, there's no point in reacting to it. Am I right? I mean, that's why you all are watching me, right? You want to hear my input, and you want to see me learn this history, right? So let us continue.
Because they lived in cities, they had no farms to grow their own food. Areas like Bohemia were hit even worse, since Ferdinand's religious policies were driving out the moneyed classes of Protestant artisans and skilled workers. It left the country short of doctors, lawyers, merchants, and builders. They in turn fled to Protestant cities, driving prices even higher there, since more population means more demand for food. And then came the soldiers. Soldiers that had to be paid, often by rulers ordering tax hikes on their already destitute subjects. Generals routinely took on more soldiers than they could pay, making up for the shortfall with contributions from the cities they marched into, essentially demanding money in exchange for not sacking the town. Armies also quartered soldiers in civilian homes, at times for months, with families made to provide for the unwelcomed house guests. And of course, there was also the looting, pillaging, and confiscation of crops and livestock, which was pretty rampant. But that
So quartering. I first heard the word quartering when I was learning about American history back in 8th grade when I was 13 years old. So quartering was a thing way before, huh? Way before. Okay. Oh my gosh, now that makes so much more sense why in the US amendment you can't quarter. I think it's like one of the American amendments that you can't quarter troops in homes. Oh my gosh. I always wondered, I'm like, quarter troops? I'm like, okay, well, back then it makes sense, but today that doesn't really seem like anything necessary. But that makes sense because if a war happens and the US gets invaded, or should I say, if the US military needs aid, like troops just can't walk into your home and oh my gosh. Wow. Yo, this just expanded like a lot in my head. Freaking, oh my gosh, dude. I swear this is what I like love, like watching these videos, especially when it's like suggested by me and I like learn something. Like it expands my I'm like half asleep right now, okay? Because my sleeping schedule is a bit weird. It's like 6 a.m. I should be asleep right now. But it's crazy because I'm paying attention and I'm still able to talk, but I'm like half asleep. No, but I like it when my knowledge expands, right? Especially whenever like someone suggests me to like watch this, watch that. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you, because it seems worthwhile to me, right? It really does seem worthwhile to me that my knowledge expands from a suggestion. I'm so like, oh, so this wasn't just pointless. Let's continue.
There was also the looting, pillaging, and confiscation of crops and livestock, which was pretty rampant. But that was micro scale.
You're gonna have to get used.
On a macro level, once the monarchs began running out of money, they started paying troops in land. Ferdinand was the first to do this, granting Maximilian lands in the Palatinate for the use of his army. But there were others, and new rulers, unfamiliar with the territory, did little to even out the situation. Accounts of the time discuss nuns corralling orphans into convent grounds, begging passing troops for food, families trying to eat grass, and cats and dogs disappearing from cities.
Ah, hell nah. The cats and dogs, that's not really crazy. I know certain cultures eat cats and dog meat. Honestly, I heard it tastes the same, like cow meat, chicken meat, etc., etc. But what is crazy is eating grass. That is insane.
Soldiers, often just as hungry, lamed or poisoned their horses so they could be butchered for food. And because
that's actually so freaking sad.
Sieges were such a feature of the conflict, garrisons found themselves running low on supplies much earlier than normal. It was mostly from here that the stories of cannibalism came. And while we
hell nah. I almost said the N-word, dude. I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that, bro. I swear, like this stuff happens. It just rings up on me. Oh my freaking Oh my gosh.
Stories of cannibalism came. And while we shouldn't believe every one of them, it's generally accepted that it happened on occasion. The poor eating each other, and the rich making more money.
Oh my gosh. Oh, cannibalism? It was that bad that they resorted to Okay. Wow.
Each other, and the rich making more money. But that was not the end. There was still one final horseman left. Because while armies marched from town to town, taking whatever they wished, they often left something in their wake. Plague, pestilence, and death. The rider,
the worst part, disease, the worst part. Oh my gosh.
The pale horse is coming, and his scythe will kill more than the other horsemen combined.
Of course.
And actually, while we're
disease, the thing that this is actually a really nice reaction that I did. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe if you love what I have to say. If you have any suggestions, make sure that you comment it down below. like the video so that my content stays on the YouTube algorithm. Thank you for watching and